You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Robert Reich reveals the real source of Trump's power. And it isn't water, based on an article by Alex Henderson. Trump's power is not mystique. It is elite surrender. Personality as cover story. The source text tries to explain Donald Trump as a kind of political force of nature, norm-breaking, immoral, unconstrained, impossible to contain. That framing is useful to him because it turns deliberate behavior into mysticism. Trump is not powerful because he is mysterious. He is powerful because institutions keep deciding that his violations are something other people must absorb. A campaign, a party, a summit, a presidency, a media ecosystem, and judicial order do not get to hide behind psychology. They are actors. They make choices. They clear the path. Who actually holds power? Trump's power in this account is not raw charisma floating above politics. It comes from institutional control and institutional fear. He became the dominant figure in the Republican Party. That matters more than any personality theory. A political party that yields its machinery to one man is not being captured in the abstract. It is actively consenting to capture. The same logic applies at the NATO summit described in the source. The leaders in Ankara treated Trump with extraordinary deference because they feared what he might do if he did not get his way. That is not admiration. It is preemptive submission by people with power who prefer accommodating a bully to confronting him. The real enablers. The source correctly notes that Trump's martyr base is not the full explanation, but it stops short of naming the larger system that makes his behavior durable. Elites who normalize extortion because they want stability on their own terms. Business interests, party officials, foreign leaders, and political professionals all participate when they treat rule-breaking as a negotiation style rather than a constitutional failure. Right is right that Trump violates norms, rules, and laws. The softer error is stopping there, as if violation itself were the mechanism. Violation works because other actors keep adjusting around it. The damage is not accidental. It is managed. What the source gets wrong, the weakest part of the framing is the idea that Trump's power comes mainly from his willingness to do anything. That is only half the story. A willingness to break rules means little unless someone else is afraid to enforce them. That distinction matters. Calling Trump non-ethical or immoral describes his posture. It does not explain the system that rewards it. The real story is not that one man escaped the guardrails. It is that too many guardrails were decorative to begin with, and too many supposed guardians prefer accommodation over confrontation when their own comfort is on the line. Martyr fraying consent. The source mentions that parts of the martyr base are having second thoughts because of another Middle Eastern war, rising prices, and the still unreleased Epstein files. That is useful context, but it should not be mistaken for a principled break with authoritarian politics. Voter disappointment is not the same thing as democratic repair. When a political movement built on grievance begins to wobble, the danger is not that it becomes virtuous. The danger is that it becomes more erratic, while the institutions around it keep trying to pretend normal politics still applies. Trump's coalition may fray at the edges, but the real enabling structure is still the elites who keep treating him as an unavoidable bargaining partner. The pattern beneath the story. This is the broader pattern. American institutions repeatedly confuse restraint with surrender. They mistake deference for realism. They call submission prudence when the person demanding submission has already shown what he will do with more room. Trump does not need to outthink the system if the system keeps making itself available to be bullied. The deeper political lesson is not about one man's personality. It is about the recurring cowardice of institutions that would rather negotiate with abuse than enforce democratic limits against it. You've been listening to Systemic Error, thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of Norman. Thanks for listening.